Ethan was my fiancé. Yet at his own birthday celebration, he announced his intention to marry another woman. The entire room turned to stare at me. Amidst the awkward tension, I initiated the applause. Congratulations. I produced a ring box from my pocket. May your union last a century and be blessed with many children. I extended the platinum band toward the couple. The silence thickened. Ethan's expression darkened while the girl beside him clutched his arm nervously. With a sigh, I deposited the ring on a nearby dessert table. Snagging the sleeve of Alex, the youngest Carter heir who perpetually trailed after Ethan, I raised an eyebrow. Sober? He blinked owlishly. Yeah. Good. My car keys arced through the air. Drive me home. Sure thing. Sis. We'd barely taken 2 steps when Ethan stormed down the staircase. Grip vice-like around my wrist. What's your game? Sophia? Rubbing my throbbing temple. I calculated the time. After pulling an all-nighter to salvage a compromised product launch, attending Dawn's strategy meetings, and making a cross-state dash to retrieve Ethan's gift, my schedule now showed an 8 p.m. argument, 10 p.m. crisis call, and 6 a.m. Paris flight. I'm exhausted. I stated flatly, extracting myself. Grown-ups have actual responsibilities. Ethan. Some of us can't afford temper tantrums. Alex navigated the winding roads to my penthouse in silence. As I exited the Mercedes, I tossed him the velvet box meant for Ethan. Yours now. His gasp echoed off concrete pillars. The limited edition Aston Martin key? But Ethan's been. Take it to the dealership tomorrow. I waved off his stunned gratitude. And yes, the engagement's terminated. Feel free to confirm if anyone asks. Damn right. He grinned, pocketing the keys. Dude's been taking you for granted since prep school. My laughter sounded more tired than amused. By the time hot water sluiced over my aching shoulders, my video conference with Milanese suppliers had already begun. The moment my head hit the pillow post-meeting, consciousness evaporated. My assistant's insistent knocking at 5:15 a.m. found me still wearing yesterday's robe. 37 missed calls and 112 unread messages lit up my phone screen, half demanding explanations about Ethan, half speculating about stock impacts. I silenced the device, adjusting my Fendi sunglasses against the sunrise glinting off private jet wings. Let the rumor mill churn. By the time Parisian markets opened, Wall Street would have fresher scandals to devour. People actually cared about how I was doing. Most shared the same attitude as Alex that I really should teach Ethan a lesson. Everyone thought I was just messing around with Ethan. After all, in their eyes, Sophia had been hopelessly infatuated with Ethan, loving him so desperately she'd lost all self-respect. Ethan had been my first crush since high school. Back then, he shone with such dazzling arrogance that no one could ignore him. Neither could I. So I confessed to him. Ethan, can I be your girlfriend? He looked at me with careless indifference. The top student? I don't date goody two-shoes. Because of those words, my reckless younger self did countless foolish things, dyeing my hair, getting piercings, tattooing my skin, skipping classes, clubbing every night. I started hanging out with Ethan constantly, until the day he brought a girl in pristine white standing before us. Meet my girlfriend, he said. Suddenly I understood he didn't dislike good students. He just disliked me. Ethan wasn't loyal but perpetually romantic. He cycled through girlfriends endlessly. Then during sophomore year, our families arranged our engagement. Skipping the dating phase, we became fiancés directly. This struck his raw nerve. He grabbed my throat demanding, "You'd scheme this desperately to tie me down? Don't you know I'll never love you?" How did I respond? Yes. I told him, "That's fine. I don't need your love. I just need you to marry me." From sophomore year till now, Ethan's been my fiancé for 6 years. Throughout this time, His scandals never ceased. He flirted and dated countless women. Sometimes I even cleaned up his messes. Each time I'd only ask one question: did you sleep with them? What if I did? What if I didn't? He'd counter. I'd reply, if you did, you'd be free. Yet strangely, despite the parade of women around him, he never touched any. Who knows what principles he's clinging to? 3 days after returning from Paris, I still hadn't contacted Ethan. Yet our social circle kept updating me the woman he'd threatened to marry had been dismissed. He'd been drowning himself in bars until his father Richard threatened disinheritance. The car I gave Alex had been repurchased at double price. The real shock came when I saw Ethan at the airport. Even behind sunglasses, his pallor showed. My father wants you at dinner, he said tonelessly. I'm busy. I declined. I'll apologize to Richard personally. Ethan stared at me before turning away. Suit yourself, he threw over his shoulder, voice colder than winter wind. I didn't pay much attention and drove straight home. It wasn't that I was brushing him off, I genuinely had business to handle. Grandpa had called demanding I come home for dinner. Though dinner was really code for another lecture. Did you have a falling out with Ethan? He asked, offering me an out. I didn't take the bait. Grandpa, I want to call off the engagement with the Miller family. His expression darkened. I'll tolerate your temper since we Clarks don't bow to bullies. But I never authorized breaking the engagement. I'm ending it, I repeated. His palms slammed the table. Kneel. I dropped obediently before him. Do you comprehend the financial devastation this would bring? Our 6-year alliance with the Millers is deeply intertwined. Severing ties now would hemorrhage billions. Of course I know. What if I could offset those losses? Grandpa stilled, fingertips drumming the lacquered wood. Prove it first. Later, leaning against my car outside the estate, I texted my corporate rival, looking for a wife? Alexander Carter, the golden child our generation was measured against. Every trust fund kid had endured the "why can't you be more like Alex?" lectures. The man had ice water in his veins and a Midas touch. Traits that kept him orbiting far above our champagne-soaked social circles. We'd only started crossing paths after I took the reins at Clark Holdings. Don't get me wrong, he's sharp. But not invincible. Last month, I'd outbid him for a waterfront development by a hair's breadth, exploiting his psychological price threshold. The victory still warmed my cocktail party anecdotes. 3 hours passed without reply. At 11 p.m., my phone finally buzzed. Near-death epiphany? He'd written. I grinned, dialing immediately. Working late. Alex? To what do I owe the pleasure? Sophia? His voice carried amusement. Did you consider my proposal? Silence. Then, wife? I nearly dropped the phone. So blunt? Should I volley back? Before deciding, he continued, since when did Clark Holdings branch into matchmaking? Phew. Good thing my mouth didn't outpace my brain. Truth is, Alexander Carter's reached that prime marriage age, and I happen to have the perfect candidate in mind. Wondering if Mr. Carter's interested? Who? Me. The silence turned tomb-cold. Quietude became our parting serenade, stillness cloaking tonight's bridge. When I checked my phone, call disconnected. Humph. Like hell I'd surrender that easily. Next morning, I stormed into Carter Enterprises. Alex removed his reading glasses, massaging his temples. To what do I owe this visit? Sophia? Playing amnesia? I countered. Seriously though, Alex ever considered marrying me? Profit guaranteed. His gaze sharpened. You're serious? You thought last night was a joke? I thought you were drunk. Leaning forward with theater kid sincerity, what about now? Care to reconsider? Alex's appraisal felt clinical. Heard about your fallout with Ethan. Didn't realize it went nuclear. Why should I clean up your mess? No refusal meant negotiable. I'll concede half a point on hydraulic New Street. 3. Desk tap punctuated his counter. Highway robbery. 1. 3. 1.5. Final offer. 3. Teeth-gritting compromise. 2. Take it or walk. Deal. Alex's smirk widened. Money's irrelevant, I live for altruism. Bullshit artist. With Carter secured, I marched into Miller territory. Richard's conference room held unexpected guests, his hollow-eyed son included. Ethan intercepted me pre-meeting. Why the radio silence? Our engagement concerns two people, not corporate boards. Studying his uncomplicated gaze, I marveled. How enviable. This survival of innocence. The world hadn't yet etched its cynicism into those earnest eyes. I spoke up. You're wrong. The engagement was never just between the two of us. Ethan stared at me with burning intensity, his grip tightening painfully on my arm. When we entered the private dining room, Richard had already taken his seat at the head of the table. After exchanging pleasantries about family matters, the Miller family patriarch said amiably, I know Ethan upset you. Consider him yours to discipline today. Beat him. Scold him. Whatever you need. I'll make sure he takes it. I smiled faintly. Actually, the reason I asked for this meeting concerns the marriage arrangement between our families. Mr. Miller, I wish to terminate the engagement. The convivial atmosphere shattered. Ethan shot to his feet. I object. He ground out through clenched teeth. Insolent pup. Sit down. Richard barked. Ethan met his father's glare with equal ferocity. What now? More decisions made behind my back? First you forced this engagement against my will. Now you'll cancel it without my consent. Am I just your fucking puppet? The table shook as Richard slammed his palm down. Then what the hell do you want? You fought this arrangement for 6 years. 6 years of humiliating the Millers and Clarks with your tantrums. If you don't want out now, what's your game? Ethan flinched as if struck, gaze dropping to the floor. After a loaded pause, Richard snapped. Get out. He left. Worse. He dragged me with him, hauling me through the restaurant at breakneck speed like some kind of elopement before I could protest. Ethan, have you lost your mind? I demanded, struggling against his iron grip. When he only tightened his hold, I finally shouted, You're hurting me, and started hitting his arm. He released me like I'd burned him, panic flooding his features. Sophia! Are you? I'm fine. I cut him off, massaging my wrist. This entire situation baffled me. I'd anticipated resistance from the Miller family, even hoped Ethan might support ending this farce. Instead, he'd become the main obstacle. What are you playing at? I demanded. You've wanted out since day one. Now that it's happening, why the theatrics? His bitter laugh sounded more like a choked sob. Wanted out? Since when did my wants matter? Do any of you ever consult me before rearranging my life? Understanding dawned. Ah, this is about pride. You can't stand me ending things first. Fine, you break it off. Tell everyone you dumped me. Hell, this should be easy after your little future bride announcement last month. Our breakup would seem perfectly natural now. Gone. He rasped. What? There's no one else. Ethan's eyes bore into mine. I never considered marrying anyone else. I let the silence stretch before responding. But you will. Eventually. The realization had crystallized during his birthday gala. 6 years of this dance had exhausted me. Yet Ethan kept finding new ways to rebel. That red carpet bride candidate might have been another provocation. But someday there'd be a real contender. I don't wait for storms. I said quietly. I build shelters. This ends on my terms. Our parting was ugly. Ethan left me with a venomous promise. this isn't over. Sophia. You don't get to decide everything. My word didn't count. Of course. But his didn't either. These things require negotiation. Before meeting Chairman Richard Miller, I'd already taken Alex Carter to see my grandfather. We shared a meal and casual conversation. Nothing explicit needed to be said, we all knew what it meant. That same night, grandfather relented. I'm too old to meddle in young people's affairs. Do what you must. This time I went straight to Richard's office. 1 hour later, the engagement was dissolved. We agreed to announce the cancellation on our respective official websites at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So what did you offer the Millers? Alex sprawled lazily on his sofa. Daytime professional demeanor vanished. After leaving Miller Group headquarters, I'd called suggesting dinner. He'd invited me to his penthouse instead. Why hesitate? Our relationship status would change soon anyway. Turned out I was overthinking. He'd simply wanted to avoid crowds on his day off. His hospitality extended to pan-seared steaks and a decent Cabernet. Surprisingly comfortable. You think I'd endure humiliation? I protested when he raised an eyebrow. The Millers had limited leverage. 6 years of partnership wasn't built on stupidity. Except Qingshui Bay, their withdrawal as primary investors would have stranded that development and collapsed my cash flow. I needed a generous soul with capital and appetite for strategic alliances. Alex tooted. Stop looking at me like I'm some easy mark. My breath hitched. Could he read minds? Never. You're my savior. He snorted. Compensating with marriage proposals now? I'm giving you my hand in marriage. Proceed. His smirk made me flush. Behave yourself. At 9:30 p.m., we both pulled out phones. Announcements tomorrow. Would shorting Miller stocks during NYSE opening be unethical? Alex barked a laugh. Eyes glued to his trading app. I hissed, seeing the interface. You're doing it anyway? Look who's talking. Dread settled as I glimpsed his portfolio. Who'd you buy? Millers and Clarks. I wanted to scream. At least don't blow up my family's assets. Next morning, the announcement detonated across social media. Netizens and society circles erupted. My phone buzzed incessantly until I posted, "It's over." Don't ask. There was no helping it, I was swamped. Between calming the board members and handling endless responsibilities, the last thing I needed was Ethan storming into the conference room. My assistant shot me an apologetic look. Mouthing couldn't stop him. He looked terrible. Eyes bloodshot like a man possessed. Wait in my office. I ordered. We'll talk after this meeting. His bitter laugh cut through the tension. Sophia. You're ruthless. Absolutely heartless. You chased me for years. Proposed marriage. And now. I slammed a folder on the table. Olivia. Take over the presentation. Yes. Sophia. Meeting his furious gaze head-on, I strode out. He followed me into the glass-walled office. His voice shaking. Enjoying the humiliation? This mess is entirely of your making. Ethan. I never asked for any of this, you forced my hand. His knuckles whitened against my desk. You're embarrassing the Miller name. Correction, you're embarrassing yourself. This marks the 3rd time you've disrupted my workday. Next time, security drags you out by your tailored sleeves. I leaned in, my Prada heels clicking sharply. Grow up, Ethan. The real world doesn't care about your tantrums. The color drained from his face. You said you loved me. He whispered. The fight suddenly gone. A weary sigh escaped me. We're not teenagers anymore. The girl who crushed on you at 17? She died chasing your motorcycle exhaust for a decade. My tastes evolved, unlike you. He staggered like I'd gut-punched him. All those years, my flings. The scandals, you never cared. Because I stopped caring when you failed business school. Again. My phone buzzed with a merger update. The engagement stays cancelled. Find someone impressed by trust fund tantrums. You can't just. I can. I cut him off, tapping my Mont Blanc pen against the contract draft. Unlike you, I built something real. My standards? Partners who don't need daddy's bailouts. The truth hung between us like shattered crystal. For years, I'd tolerated his antics for the Miller connections. But watching him unravel now, the heir who'd rather party than learn spreadsheets, I finally understood. Even dynasties crumble when led by fools. Alexander Carter called me. Was Ethan still causing trouble? I chuckled. You're well-informed, Mr. Carter. Alex snorted. Not me. Your ex made such a scene that even the tabloids are running stories. This is giving me a headache. His repeated use of ex-fiancé sounded oddly bitter, though I knew better than to think he was jealous. We were cut from the same cloth. I'd be equally annoyed if our situations were reversed. Just this once. Don't let it happen again. Alex grunted in agreement. After hanging up, I instructed my assistant to inform reception that Ethan required appointments for future visits. The day crawled by with boardroom appeasements. At closing time, my phone buzzed again. Alex's voice held restrained amusement. Your receptionist just asked me to schedule an appointment? Oh, right. That's not the point. Are you here already? Silence. Put her on the phone. I sighed, swiftly resolving the misunderstanding. Turning to my wide-eyed assistant, I added, Mr. Carter gets direct access from now on. Alex Carter? She mouthed, eyes comically wide before giving me an impressed thumbs up. I rolled my eyes. He arrived bearing enough takeout for 3. I don't eat that much. I protested. Can't I join you? His smirk made me want to throw a napkin at him. We relocated to the conference area, discussing Clearwater Bay developments between bites. With him controlling my company's lifeline soon, transparency was essential. As we finished, I eyed him suspiciously. You didn't come just for dinner. Did you? He arched an eyebrow. I've met your grandfather. When are you meeting my parents? I choked on my water, coughing violently as he patted my back with mock sympathy. Don't tell me you're planning to ditch me after getting what you want. Of course not. I rasped, face burning. Pathetic. He scoffed, though his palm remained warm against my shoulder blades. After a long while, I finally calmed down. This situation felt utterly ridiculous. Honestly, I had no successful experience dealing with elders. My parents died young, and Grandpa raised me. That old man valued profit above all. He trained me strictly to be his successor. Our relationship always revolved around transactions. Cross his interests and you'd get beaten. Emotions never mattered. Just cold pragmatism. But Alex's parents were different. My business ties were with Alexander Carter himself, not his family. The unfamiliar dynamic left me unsettled. Alex remained unfazed. What's there to stress about? Just cater to their interests. Dad's a tea connoisseur. Mom lives for spa days. I took a deep breath. When's the meeting? Next weekend. Got it. His brows furrowed as he flicked my forehead. Stop looking like you're walking to the gallows. I'll be right there with you. Being around Alex felt effortless. He became my mentor and ally, always maintaining perfect boundaries without ever making me feel inadequate. Strangely, my investments had been thriving since we partnered up. You're not my personal lucky charm, are you? I joked. He grinned, shaking my extended hand. You've got decent money-making instincts yourself. Pleasure doing business with you. Likewise. I laughed, sealing our playful pact. Ethan had faded from my thoughts until he appeared at my doorstep weeks later, disheveled and reeking of alcohol. Lately, his self-destructive spiral dominated social media. Dangerous midnight street races, bar hopping till dawn, Persistent calls from mutuals begging me to talk sense into him ended with blocked numbers. The chaos eventually quieted, until now. He leaned against my doorframe clutching a whiskey bottle. Eyes hollow. I moved to bypass him when his trembling hand grabbed my wrist. "Ethan! Let go!" I hissed. His fingers convulsed before releasing. As I reached for the deadbolt, his broken whisper froze me mid-motion. I froze for a moment. "What?" He looked up at me, eyes glistening with unshed tears, lips trembling. "My father told me everything. If you hadn't agreed to our engagement back then, he would have brought his illegitimate son home years ago." Ethan raised his arm to cover his eyes. "The bastard's only 2 years younger than me. I never knew. The day after we broke off the engagement, Dad put him in the company. I didn't know. Last month, he transferred 2% of the shares to him. Still didn't know. Yesterday, he brought him home. Said he's my brother now." "My brother!" A bitter laugh escaped him. "So I beat that bastard until he needed hospitalization. Know what Dad said? If it weren't for Sophia, I would have replaced you as heir long ago." Ethan lowered his arm, revealing bloodshot eyes. "Sophia. Am I such a failure?" "You're pathetic," I stated coldly. His lips twisted into a mirthless smile. "You really do despise me. Won't even pretend to comfort me." The stench of alcohol hung heavy around him. Reasoning with a drunk seemed pointless. Ethan staggered back against the wall, murmuring, "Always the one left behind, when I was young." I rebelled against him constantly. Thought defying his wishes would hurt him. Thought my self-destruction was punishment. But he'd already given up on me. Started grooming replacements. His gaze locked on mine. Equal parts anguish and irony. "And you. I kept scheming ways to make you care more. But you'd already moved on. Everyone's moving forward while I'm stuck here. You've all abandoned me. No one waited, not one of you." He kept circling back to these grievances like a broken record. I dialed his closest friend. Within 20 minutes, a sports car screeched to a halt outside. "Jesus. What's this tragic romance now?" his friend groaned upon seeing us. When I remained silent, he pressed. "Really no second chance?" I shook my head. "You said it yourself, tragic romance. Fucking deserved this." The friend spat while hauling Ethan up. Warned him he'd regret it. Ethan's meltdown made me nostalgic for simpler times, though it barely affected my current life. The real headache came from Alex's parents. For his mother, a diamond necklace. Women never outgrow their love for sparkles. His father required more finesse. Faced with multiple tea options, I sought Grandpa's advice. "Amateur hour." He scoffed at my selections, returning moments later with an unassuming tea cake. He ordered, "Take this." I eyed the shabby packaging. "Want me to get thrown out?" "Philistin." He swatted my arm. "This single cake's worth 10 of yours." "Doubt it." "Scram." I took it anyway. Freebies are freebies. His parting shot followed me out. "Mind your manners there. Listen to elders. Don't argue." The irony almost made me retort. Almost. In the end, I could only swallow my frustration. The weekend arrived quickly. Alexander Carter came to pick me up in his car. Throughout the ride, I remained as silent as a clamped gourd. The stifling quiet in the vehicle became unbearable until Alex suddenly grasped my hand. "What are you doing?" "Keeping you warm. Wouldn't want you dying of fright before we arrive." I eyed him skeptically. "Are you sure this isn't just an excuse to cop a feel?" He snorted. "Haven't I earned the right?" "Sure. Whatever you say." The Carter family atmosphere proved unexpectedly warm. Alex's father served a delicious homemade meal, while his mother seemed content embodying effortless elegance, though her beauty made sense given her former acting career. They adored my gifts, particularly the necklace misses. Carter immediately fastened around her neck. Then the conversation took a surreal turn. "Mr. Carter asked bluntly, when are you two getting married?" Alex turned to me. "Yeah. Sophia, when are we getting married?" I nearly choked. This shameless blame-shifting deserved a slap. Smiling sweetly, I countered, "Whenever Alex wants. I'll follow his lead." Our eyes locked in silent challenge until he declared, "Let's file the paperwork this month and host the wedding in December." My brain short-circuited. Mrs. Carter instantly launched into wedding planning euphoria. I floated through the remaining hours in a daze, suddenly understanding why business negotiations felt simpler. At least money didn't demand floral arrangements. Alex drove me home stone-faced. Everything I said tonight was serious. He stated during our goodbye. "Think it over." Think about what? Rushing to the courthouse? A winter wedding? I'm a businessman. His profile remained unreadable. This partnership needs higher stakes. That night, I dissected the marriage proposition like a corporate merger, weighing risks, projecting outcomes, spiraling into analysis paralysis. Then, mid-water sip, clarity struck. Alex had framed a false dilemma. Hadn't marriage always been the endgame? Timing was irrelevant. I texted him, "You're insufferable." He replied, ignoring him. I slept soundly. Next morning, I announced, "Pick a date for the license." His eyebrows shot up. "You're certain? Aren't we both here for the same reason?" Alex nodded slowly, admiration glinting in his eyes. "Respect. Sophia. You've got steel." Years later, after our daughter was born, Alex finally confessed to me. Back then, he'd assumed all women loved grand romantic gestures and had already started planning his proposal. But Sophia was too much of a badass allergic to romance. He shrugged. "So you just gave up?" I teased. "Hey, some of us have pride." He retorted. "Didn't want to become your next boardroom joke." Our courthouse appointment was set 3 days later, strategically timed with Alex's official investment in Clearwater Bay. The dual announcement would create perfect synergy, a win-win that'd send our stocks skyrocketing. When the Millers sent their representative for final negotiations, I never expected Ethan himself to walk through the door. I recovered quickly, extending my hand. "Mr. Miller. Pleasure." His grip lingered a beat too long. "The pleasure's mine. MS. Clark." To my surprise, the Millers made no last-minute demands. Every clause remained unchanged from our initial agreement. "Business stays business," Ethan said evenly. "Our personal matters won't affect this partnership." I didn't question their sudden generosity. When opportunity knocks, only fools refuse to answer. We signed with efficient clicks of Montblanc pens. "Dinner?" Ethan asked as the lawyers packed up. "Why not?" Future dealings were inevitable, better to establish clear boundaries now. The steakhouse he chose happened to be my regular haunt, though we'd never dined here together. He ordered all my favorites without consulting the menu. I raised my wine glass. To smooth collaboration. Do we have to be so formal? His smile didn't reach his eyes. Can't ex-fiancés be friends? Friends it is. I agreed, setting down my untouched drink. His composure cracked. Was there ever anything real between us? I massaged my temples. How had I missed this lovesick streak during our engagement? "Ethan, focus on the business, not fantasies. What if I exceed expectations?" He leaned forward urgently. "Would you reconsider?" The question hung between us. How to break the news gently. "You're free to chase whatever you want. Just don't drag me into it." "So all these years," his voice tightened, "you never cared enough to stop my self-destructive choices? Just waited to cut me loose when I crossed some invisible line? Is that what this is about?" I countered. "Blame?" His eyes widened. No. I'm younger than you. Ethan. My knife screeched against the plate. Everything I have. I fought for. I don't even know if my path's right. Who am I to guide yours? Chase your dreams. But leave me out of them. As I stood to leave, his hand shot out. The door swung open before he could speak. Alexander Carter walked in. The manager said you were here. I stepped forward and looped my arm through his. Meet Alexander Carter. My husband. Ignoring Ethan's stunned expression turning ashen. I pulled Alex away. Using me? He teased. Aren't you? I countered. Am I? Legally? Then I'm exercising wifely privileges early. Problem? Alex chuckled, lacing his fingers through mine. None whatsoever. Mrs. Carter. Ethan snapped. He grabbed me despite the public setting. Stop this. Sophia. You're lying. This is revenge. Isn't it? His pleading eyes locked on mine. Before I could react, Alex yanked me behind him. Control yourself. Ethan. Back off. Ethan roared, veins bulging. Give Sophia back. Alex remained calm. The engagement's been called off. Ethan. The punch came unexpectedly. I gasped, reaching for Alex as he sidestepped and pinned Ethan against the wall. You okay? I scanned Alex for injuries. Ethan's gaze on me dimmed like dying embers. Enough. I snapped. Whether your regret's real or fake, swallow it. We're done. In the parking garage, Alex caught my wrist before I entered the car. His eyes sparkled. That was badass. Sophia. I think I'm starting to like you. I arched an eyebrow. Just starting? Maybe a bit more. Adjusting his lapel. I declared. Approved. We had business. Marriage. Possibly lifetimes together. Developing feelings with Alex seemed manageable. 2 mornings later found us at City Hall. Shoulders brushing as we grinned for our license photo. My pulse oddly quickened during that flash. At 9:15 in the morning, our marriage certificate hung on the corporate website alongside Carter Holdings' investment announcement. Happy nuptials. Mr. Carter. Likewise. Mrs. Carter. We moved into his high-rise near both our offices. The synergy surprised me, boardroom strategies flowing into dinner conversations. His dry humor complementing my ambition. Emboldened, I began expanding my empire. Tech startups. Boutique hotels. Even a film studio, why not? When your husband's Alex, you swing for the fences. The tabloids dubbed us the power couple within months. I framed the headline, hanging it beside our wedding photo. Let them talk. We were too busy counting zeros. I accepted this outcome without hesitation. It had been a long time since I last heard anything about Ethan. When news finally reached me again, he'd already been sent overseas. This piqued my curiosity. His father Richard had indeed grown disillusioned with him. Richard's cultivation of illegitimate heirs served dual purposes, maintaining contingency plans while applying pressure through the Miller family's version of a kick in the pants. Those obsessed with dynastic successions always play these games. Like Richard or my grandfather. But complete abandonment? Not quite. Especially now that Ethan had started taking responsibilities seriously. Any problems? Take them to Alex. Alex shrugged nonchalantly. He tried mutual destruction with me. His father found out. Mutual destruction? Ethan's approach had been straightforward corporate warfare, raiding business interests regardless of cost or profit margins. Yet without real authority in the company. His orders got intercepted before implementation. The resulting explosive confrontation between father and son culminated in Ethan's reckless vow, "I'll make Alex's life hell." This final act of petulance shattered Richard's remaining patience. To prevent further chaos, Ethan found himself on an international flight. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. Alex shot me a sidelong glance. Tell you what. That your ex-fiancé chose beauty over duty? Do I look bored to you? Boredom wasn't in Alex's vocabulary. Between business expansion and our year-end wedding preparations, he operated at full throttle. I'd suggested outsourcing arrangements and accepting sponsorships. But the mere mention made him irritable. When I persisted, he'd silence me with kisses that melted all coherent thought. Our eventual wedding became Alex's magnum opus, a fairy tale spectacle where reality blurred with fantasy. Ethan arrived in full regalia, looking every inch the determined bride snatcher. Yet he simply sat through the ceremony, departing as quietly as he'd come. Later, as Alex's lips met mine, he murmured, "Mrs. Carter, I look forward to navigating forever with you." Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more exciting stories. And drop your thoughts on this one in the comments. See you next time.